Hello and welcome to Merlins Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week and new LEGO Ideas entries. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. Let's get started as always with BlueBrixx first, and here we have a couple of announcements. First one is the expedition vehicle, the 106674. It's going to have 2,208 pieces and is designed by Matteo. As you can see, it's quite large in size. BlueBrixx has done a couple of vehicles in the past in that scale. I guess that's even a bit beyond minifigure scale. And yeah, I mean, it has 2,200 pieces, so it's quite large and it's quite detailed at the same time. I'm actually not 100% sure where the design is coming from. Maybe Jurassic World, something like that. But yeah, I'm not so much into that, so I don't know. But what I can say is that it's a pretty attractive track, right? It's like a Mercedes Unimog kind of based truck, and yeah, it has all the details like boats and boxes and a quad to drive around with, and in the inside you have two beds, a kitchen, etc., etc. So it's quite detailed. It looks rather nice, I must say. I mean, light bluish gray, that's not everyone's favorite for such a vehicle, but it actually, I do believe it looks pretty good. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it comes from a license somewhere. That's at least what I would expect, but I don't know. This one here for sure is coming from a movie. That is what BlueBrixx is. I mean, typically BlueBrixx is not trying to get a license. I mean, they have one for Star Trek, but usually they don't collaborate with Hollywood that much. But this one here, the Interstellar Camper, the 106673 with 1,529 pieces, also designed by Matteo. And this is, of course, the famous Eagle 5 from Spaceballs, the 1987 space opera movie from Mel Brooks. And this is a 1986 Winnebago Chieftain 33 with wings attached, because it's actually, technically, it's a starship. And yeah, here we go. I mean, it's a famous movie. It was actually never a big favorite to me personally. I never really, I don't know. I could laugh about the jokes once, but not multiple times like many of my friends were able to. But nevertheless, here you go. You have this famous Winnebago now also as a brick set. As always, these are just announcements and we don't get prices from BlueBrixx. The prices come only when the set is available, so they are different here compared to other vendors. Anyhow, the next one, same thing, again, no license. This is what BlueBrixx then calls a Submarine Car 2-in-1 model. It's the 106672. It has 1,357 pieces, is designed by Adrian, and of course, this is Wet Nelly, the submarine vehicle from the James Bond movie from 1977, The Spy Who Loved Me. And of course, that is a Lotus Esprit S1, and then 2-in-1 means you can basically build it as a Lotus, which is actually nice done, BlueBrixx. Very nice job. And then, of course, the famous submarine. By the way, Wet Nelly was actually a thing. They built this as a movie prop. And however, my understanding is that compared to the submarine as shown in the movie, I mean, like James Bond driving around, which was like dry on the inside, this was actually, I don't know how to call it with submarines, but this was like water was coming inside. So you had like had to wear a suit and everything. And it was actually driven or steered, I guess, in this case, by an ex-Navy SEAL, Don Griffin, during the shots that they did from the outside in the movie. So here you go. This was a real submarine, and actually they used an original Lotus Esprit, which was a $100,000 car back in the day. I'm not even sure what it would be nowadays. So here we go. 1977, so this thing is older than I am. I'm 79. Anyhow, BlueBrixx again, like I said, no license, but it's kind of obvious what this thing is. And I do believe it is a great idea to have this as 2-in-1, because this is something for petrolheads. You're right. If you're interested in cars, this is a great one. But also, if you're a big fan of James Bond, this could be great as well. By the way, co-starring in this movie was Barbara Bach, and or I don't know how you Americans pronounce her. I think she is American, but the name is pretty German. But anyhow, she is married or was married to former Beatles drummer Ringo Starr. Awesome. All right, let's move on. And here we have another architecture set, Pont du Gard. That is, of course, a famous Roman building in southern France. I think it is the largest one of these aqueducts that still exist, right? To my knowledge, please write in the comments if I'm wrong here. But this is from BlueBrixx, the 106671, designed by Anton, again, the architecture designer from BlueBrixx. 1,501 pieces, so it's quite large actually if you look at it. However, it is not the entire thing. So you can see that when you count the spans. So I think the original has on the mid-tier 11 that still exist. And as you can see, this is more like 7 or 7 and 2/2, so like 9. So it's like 80% of the original, and the upper spans are actually 35, and I haven't counted these, but this is for sure less. Even if you go to the Pont du Gard in France, this is not even the entire thing does not exist anymore. Originally on the upper tiers was 47 spans. Actually nowadays it's 275 meters long. Originally it was more like 350. So it's like 80% are still left in France, and again that was a shrink down here for this model. But next to that, I think it's quite accurate, and yeah, I mean, it's Roman architecture. What's not to love about it? Obviously it's quite a heavy thing, I believe. I mean, just look at, I don't know, I haven't counted the stats, but it must be, these are like, I guess, 1x16s. So it has like 3 of them. So it's larger than a regular base plate. I guess this thing will be around like 60 centimeters in length. So it's not small, and at the same time quite simple, right? It's not that, it doesn't feel that detailed. But here you go, Roman architecture by BlueBrixx. What's not to love about it? And then let's move on around availability. One of out of the train section, cooling trolley big, the 105072. I'm not 100% sure. It sounds to me a bit too old to be, you know, just available. However, at least ZTB claims that it's newly available. So anyhow, designed by Pascal, 457 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for 25 euros. That's 5.5 cents per piece. Here we go. And something else, something to play with for you train enthusiasts. And then we have a submarine, or a U-boat, as it is called by the Germans. Submarine 70, that's 27, right? Seehound, or Seehund in German. That was actually a thing. It is a collaboration between Cobi and Deutsches Marinemuseum in Wilhelmshaven, so German Marine Historical Museum, something like that. On Naval History Museum of Naval History, something like that. Anyhow, it's a 1x72 model of the Seehound, which was a 2-person submarine from Second World War. It was slightly below 12 meters in length, 1 meter and 68 centimeters in width, and it had 17 tons. So yeah, it had 2 torpedoes, and I found different sources around how many they made of these, but it seems 285 seems to be the best number that were actually made. And yeah, they were used, I think, a lot in the Channel, and both to attack ships, and also I think they were also sometimes used for supply missions. Anyhow, this model here by Cobi will have 181 pieces. I'm actually not sure. Originally I thought only Cobi would sell it themselves. However, Brickmo, that is a shop over here in Europe, in Austria, I think they are located, they already claimed that they will have this in stock for 17 bucks. Again, in Europe, that, no, I'm not sure if that is with tax. Anyhow, 17 bucks, 9.5 cents a piece. I think this one could be interesting because if you're, if you have a naval history interest, Cobi usually, when you're, into naval history, Cobi is making only these large ships, right? It's not very often that they make small ones. So if you're, I don't know, if you know somebody who is interested in naval history and you're looking for a small present, this could be a good thing. However, I'm not sure if it will be available outside of Europe. That remains to be seen. Anyhow, with that, we are moving on to LEGO, and here we had a couple of interesting announcements. First of all, the new helmet series, or wave, is here. First, we start with Captain Rex, one of my most beloved characters from Clone Wars, next to Ahsoka Tano, and this one is a 75349. It has 854 pieces, and LEGO is asking for $70 US. That's a little bit above 8 cents a piece. Weight and i.e. Price per gram, I do not know at this point. And yeah, it's Captain Rex helmet. It has a ton of stickers. That is a bit unfortunate. However, I'm pretty sure by looking at it that it should look pretty nice even without the stickers. It will release March 1st. However, a ton of LEGO recognized fan media, this is just the international ones, but also over here in Germany, several recognized fan media have or received it, or in Austria as well. So LEGO is quite active on the marketing side for this one. So let's see how that goes. I'm really looking forward to this one. Big fan of Captain Rex. The helmet itself, yeah, I mean, it's like with the Stormtrooper, right? This is like version 2 of the Clone Trooper helmets. It's really not easy to make in bricks. It looks a bit rough, especially in the lower part. But the visor I really like. And yeah, all in all, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a nice helmet. And then we have, as alternative to that, Commander Cody's helm. And this is Series 1 or version 1 of the Clone Trooper helmet. So you have both designs here, which is quite cool. And I even do believe, I mean, if you look at there are not so many colored pieces. So I think you could quite easily, of course, rearrange the color, right? So make, I don't know, Commander Cody version 2 helmet or a Captain Rex version 1, right? I mean, I guess it's relatively easy to change the pieces. Actually, I know that there is, for instance, a shop here in Germany selling Lego sets, and they're even offering a special variant where they ship you the Lego set plus all the Lego pieces. You need to change the color. I think, I'm not sure if they do this for both helms, but I've seen that for one. So yeah, I think there's a lot of variety in there. I guess 90% of the pieces you can reuse, depending on which color, which legion you want. Anyhow, this one here is the 75350. It has 766 pieces, and LEGO is again asking for $70 US. And again, we had already a couple of reviews out there. As always, you will find down below in the description, or for you podcast listeners in the podcast show notes, all the links to Set2B, and Set2B collects all the reviews of these sets, so that you have a nice overview. Actually, there's no review out there right now for the third helmet, and this is Princess Leia's helmet. Obviously, that is the Bounty Hunter helmet of episode 6 that she is wearing in the beginning when entering Jabba's palace. And this is the 75351. It has 670 pieces, so that's slightly below the others, and it's $70 US. And I must say, it is extremely well done. So this could be, by looking at it right now, become my most favorite helmet. What is interesting around this one, that LEGO has not provided it to the recognized fan media yet, so there's no review out, or maybe they have and there's just a different NDA on it. I'm not so sure, and it seems to be pretty exclusive. So at least over here in Europe, so far I've only seen one other shop, one of LEGO's premium partners, I guess, over here in Europe, Alternate actually. They have listed this one, so they expect to get this in stock, and they have it for the same price as LEGO. So, of course, sometimes shops, you know, buy directly from LEGO, from the LEGO shop, and then just put 20% on top and try to sell it like this as well. I'm not really sure how that works, who would buy that, but nevertheless, you see this sometimes. But this is the same price, so it seems LEGO is providing it into to retail, but I guess in a restricted manner, as they do for many of the big exclusive sets as well. Anyhow, looking forward to this one. I'm really curious if we will see more reviews or any reviews for that matter before release. Let's see. So let's move on. Then we have 3 BlueBrixx releases, and we get started with Eve and Wall-E from the famous movie Wall-E, the 40619. So that is a $15 BlueBrixx set, because it has smaller BlueBrixx in it. Usually the pricing is always the same as BlueBrixx. So one BlueBrixx is $10, 2 full-size BlueBrixx is $20, and sometimes they have like smaller ones, and then you pay just 15. But anyhow, this is Wall-E, and I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's Wall-E, come on. And it seems they have a print here, which is amazing, because BlueBrixx usually don't have stickers. So we are getting a Wall-E print. How cool is that? And I think he's very well done. Obviously, I mean, he's pretty small, but I think that's okay. Eve is boring. I mean, Eve is boring in the movie, and she's boring here, so maybe, I mean, there is a scene, I think, in the beginning where she's blasting around, right, trying to shoot Wall-E. So this could be something that they could have added to add, let's say, a bit more glamour to it, if you will. This way she looks really, really boring. But I mean, Wall-E is just great. So either way, I'm happy with the set. I would have bought it if they just put Wall-E in the box. That's fine. Anyhow, let's move on. Then we have Moana. I'm not sure how she's pronounced in the original, and Merida. And this is interesting because these are two different or separate Disney movies, right? The 40621, we're talking about 410 pieces, $20. And I've not seen either of those. I know the characters, of course, and especially, and I think for both of them, LEGO has also made a lot of like play sets, like Friends, Disney kind of sets. But now here we go. We have the BlueBrixx, and they are very well done. I really like Merida's hair, which of course is not easy to do, right? That's kind of an important piece of the character, and they have done an amazing job here. It really looks cool, and of course she has her bow and the quiver, and then on the other side we have Moana. I don't know much about her, almost nothing, but I think she's very well done as well. Nice prints here as well. Both of them have, of course, next to the printed eyepieces, they have also both prints on their torso. What is really interesting here, that if you look at the skin tone of Merida, this is, of course, light skin colored, and it looks quite well, I must say. Dark blue skin tones, that's something that LEGO has been struggling with in the past, but I think this looks quite nice. But it is darker still as the pieces are above it, but nevertheless I really like the print quality here, so let's see how that turns out in reality. Let's move on, and then we have Cruella and Maleficent, I think, famously played, characterized by Angelina Jolie in the movie Maleficent, and Cruella. And here I'm not so sure if I like these. We're talking about the 40620, by the way, 320 pieces, $20. Maleficent they used here, I think this is light aqua, I guess, and I'm not sure why they used the skin color. I must say though, I have not seen the movie. I really want to see it. I don't know why I haven't seen it, because I'm a big Angelina Jolie fan, so I should have. But anyhow, I'm not sure if there is a scene in the movie, at least I'm not aware of any, that would justify this skin tone. And I'm pretty sure the BlueBrixx relates to the Disney movie, right? Because that's what LEGO is usually doing. They use the movie. So I'm not 1% sure where this skin tone is coming from, and it also doesn't look that nice. Anyhow, Cruella is really cool because they managed to get this look across entirely without any prints, right? They just used building technique, which is great. Here, Maleficent, on the other hand, she has a print, and I'm not so sure, at least in this size here on my monitor, it doesn't look as crisp as I would like it to be, but yeah, let's see how it turns out. But yeah, I'm not sure if I like this set yet. I think Cruella is done nice. Maleficent, oh my god, I'm not sure if I like the skin tone, but let's move on to MOCs of the week. And here we have, or we are getting started with an absolute behemoth, the Ancient Roman Temple by Sir Percival. Actually a designer I know. He has also a German YouTube channel over here. And anyhow, this thing has 20,329 parts. And I know for a fact, because I've seen pictures from it, he has built it in reality. Actually, he has been working on it for quite some time. Similar to what he did to his castle, which I think has like 150,000 pieces. I don't know, something ridiculous. Which he is also selling. I mean, we can actually double check. Yes, no, 112,000. So he has built this thing. Actually, this thing is right now making the tour through various venues and also shops, stores over here in Germany. So I think he has a long backlog of folks who would like to exhibit this thing. It looks beautiful, it looks amazing, and he has built it live on YouTube over, I don't know, a year or something. Anyhow, his new project is this ancient Roman temple, and you can buy the entire instruction for $30, which is, I think, totally fine for 20,000 pieces. It is a monster though, and of course, I mean, if you want to buy all these pieces, yeah, you could get poor pretty quick, but it is like a minifigure scale Roman temple, and this on its own is just great. Amazing, beautifully done, and it's based on to get an idea on the size, it is 2 full Lego base plates, 48 by 48, so 96 by 48 studs. And it's amazing. So if you're into romance and you're willing to, you know, walk the walk and buy 20,000 pieces, here you go. Let's move on to a Stargate model by MontyBuilds, the BC-304 Daedalus Deep Space Carrier. I'm actually not sure. I always thought it was called different than Deep Space Carrier. It was more like Battle Cruiser or something. Anyhow, it is the Daedalus. And I'm actually not a big Stargate fan, but I do like this design. It has a stand included, which actually is a nice stand, I must say. It's not easy to make a good stand. Most stands actually look rather horrible. And also what people very often try, like with you know, trans clear pieces, it never really works out. But this one I really like. It's black, it's simple, you know, it's not changing the look of the ship, but at the same time, you know, it has also an interesting shape on its own. So yeah, well done, I must say. However, I'm pretty sure it's stressing the pieces a lot, right? If you look at these Technic arms here, I think there's a lot of stress. So coming back to the ship itself, I really like the design. Like, let's say the hull and how the hull and all the detail that the designer MontyBuilds put into it. The only thing I would have wished is that these landing areas, I guess that's what they are, right? Like landing bays. Because they are shut and closed, I guess there are pieces on the inside, you know, to build it. But of course, having this open and then putting some lighting in it would be just amazing. But I guess that wasn't feasible from a building technique perspective. Anyhow, well done, MontyBuilds. And then we're moving on to Lego Profi, and which is a great name, by the way. Profi is like, you know, also in, I don't know where this designer is coming from, but Profi, at least in Germany, is like professional. But anyhow, Fisherman's House by Lego Profi, 1,575 pieces, asking for $850 US. And I've talked about his her designs before, especially House with an Attic was so amazing because it was a very detailed wall, almost entirely built out of tiny plates. You know, just crazy detail. This small house needed 4,500 pieces. But of course, 4,500 pieces is not for everyone. So the idea here is to have a smaller one, but similar building techniques. And I do believe this could be, and I said the same thing about the other house, could be interesting to buy this manual just to get a better understanding of the building technique. The roof is relatively simple, mostly made out of tiles. However, I think that is a good counter against the very detailed and, you know, wall, to have a more simplistic roof design. So I really like that. Floor here on the outside is also nicely done. A nice combination of round tiles and bricks and tiles and plates and regular tiles and plates. I think, yeah, it is a very well done design, like the water as well. Nice combination out of trans pieces on top of a blue colored plate layer. Personally, I prefer to get a bit more depth into it by having 2 trans layers, but I mean, yeah, I mean, you could easily change that if you want to give your water a bit more depth. Anyhow, let's move on to the next design by Marius 2002. Talked about his designs in the past, especially many beautiful or nice combination. That's actually exactly what I love. A lot of Star Wars stuff and ships. So that's sailing ships. That's a nice combination here, right there. And both the Venator, I think it's one of the coolest Venator designs in my book, currently on Rebrickable, because it is a good, nice mid-size. So it's not one of these 6,000 pieces plus crazy things, but also not too small. It's quite nice. But of course, he also created a BMOS with the Liberator with 5,300 parts. But there are also very nice sailing ships. For instance, the Imperial Frigate, amazing design, but there are others as well. Very nice Viking ship, small Viking ship, I guess minifigure scale, really love it. And here we go. Now we have a private ship. Of course, this thing looks a bit like the Black Pearl. I'm not sure if I would rather prefer the design from BlueBrixx, also an amazing Black Pearl design, but this one is pretty cool as well. Very well done. And it's quite large. It's 67 centimeters in length, 57 in height. However, I mean, even if it's completely brick built and expensive and 2,500 pieces, this thing looks a little bit like could also be interesting for kids. So maybe like a hybrid thingy, like you as a grown-up with all the money and the budget, you buy this thing, have a lot of fun building it, and then look at it for half a year and then you give it to your kids. So this could be a plan. Anyhow, let's move on. Great design to the last one actually for today. And this is a small one, and it's actually even free of charge. It's by Catward, the Forestman trading ship. So you get both the IO files as well as the PDF. The reason why I picked this one is for this week is this building technique for sails. So this might be an old thing for many of you, but for me at least it was new to use these Technic panels that you see very often in cars and stuff, in large Technic sets especially, use these for sails. And this is a nice compromise because I'm a big fan of brick built sails. I don't like having too much cloth, in my models, but brick built, heavily brick built sails, like what LEGO has been doing in recent sets, like with multiple layers of plates, is not for everyone. But using a cloth and, cut it yourself and all this kind of craziness is also, at least I personally would like to avoid this as much as I can. So this could be interesting as an alternative. I mean, it does not look as realistic as the others, but it is brick built and it's relatively easy to do. And of course, I mean, this is just a tiny model, right? It has slightly below 200 pieces, but you could use this technology even like for big sailing ships. Why not? So nice idea. Actually, there are two different sails in here, two different ideas using these Technic panels for sails. It's a great idea, and this is why I picked it. But the ship itself was also nice, right? It's I think, a good fit for classic castle, for a classic castle scene. All right, let's move on to LEGO Ideas, and my browser is doing something weird here. Let's see if that will work. So we have 4 ideas designs this week that made the 10,000 supporters. So will be in the next wave for the LEGO team to take a look at it. And this one here is by Utamaru Brick 8, I guess. BlueBrixx Coffee, a modular building, I would say, just from the format. It has the Technic bricks to connect it to other modulars. It has the size, i.e. it is a 32 by 32 base plate. Of course, it looks very different than a traditional modular. But, I mean, I hope you're still with me. My monitor just did a weird thing. But anyhow, coming back to BlueBrixx Coffee, it is a beautiful design, I must say. Interior is extremely detailed, reminds me a lot of Central Perk, which is, from my personal point of view, one of the greatest LEGO sets of all time. And it is similar detailed, so that is great news. But also from the outside, it looks very detailed and interesting, and there's a lot to explore. Much more interesting than most modular buildings that LEGO has done in the past. So really liking this one. At the same time, it has a design language that strongly reminds of LEGO. So it would be great if they would do it, but of course, it's like a regular modular, no film license behind it, etc. So not ideas material, but great design. Love it, absolutely. So let's see if this link here is working. It is actually working. Awesome. So we have another Shrek set. So as many of you may know, the second movie, I think, has like 20 years next year, right? Anniversary. And so this is already the second Shrek Swamp that we have in the current wave. And however, I actually prefer this one a little bit. It's by Daniel Bradley, I guess. Nice done. Very well designed, nice interior, very detailed, tiled floor. So I think this has good chances, because why not? I mean, LEGO could make a Shrek set, and we have the anniversary, like I said. And I think this is a very, very nicely done, nice design. Let's move on to the next entry, and that is the Humpback Whale. My understanding is, I'm not really that familiar with that art form, that basically this is like what is it called, like a paper cut? The art of paper cutting is what the designer is saying. That is basically where you cut paper and then you put it in many layers, and through that you create art. And I think this is like a brick built version around it. It has like 1 million heavy, large pieces in it. So it's just 2,000 pieces, but of course it's gigantic, enormous. It's 58 by 42 by 13 centimeters. So it's really large, but I think it looks quite nice. If LEGO would do it, however, I'm pretty sure they will make it a lot smaller and use a lot smaller pieces, because this thing here would be extremely expensive if LEGO would do it exactly like this, right? With all the large pieces. But nevertheless, I like the design. But however, personally, I would also actually wish for having it a bit thinner than this one here. This one looks a bit bulky, a bit heavy, but the general idea and the general design, the colors, etc. is quite nice actually. And then last but not least for this week, we have the entry for an LED lamp. This actually uses LEGO lighting pieces, and it's, I must say, it's very well done. It almost looks like a real lamp. On the other hand, why not just buy a real lamp? I mean, I'm a big fan of the concept of having brick built lamps, but for me that means, you know, I put a couple of interesting modulars and put, I don't know, a Light My Bricks or light tailing kit into it, and this is my lamp. Actually, I have quite a lot of them actually here in my office. That is what I would prefer, but why build a real lamp? I don't know. Anyhow, I think it's very well done. It looks nice. Lighting looks cool. They actually used, like, as you can see here, they used the typical LEGO kit. And you can, of course, give it different colors. It's actually by Castor Troy and a collaboration with Max Brick. So here you go, a LEGO lamp with LEDs. And with that, we close the week. I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or a comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment, or like on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.